Welcome, Charles. Thank you so much for taking the time to come out for this project. You're part of the trailer. People were super impressed with your story there. So I think they'll be excited to hear a longer version of it because that was very condensed. So Charles is an extremely successful lawyer. He moved here a few years ago. You passed the bar exam here. You ended up getting into a law firm. You made partner, and then you bought out your partner all before the age of 31.
Yes.
So that's quite the journey.
Thank you.
Especially for coming to a new country and having to rebuild your network.
Absolutely.
So maybe just to start out, tell us a little bit about what your law firm offers, what you do, and what clients can expect from you.
Yeah. Thanks, John, for having me. I appreciate it. The name of my law firm is Osuji and Smith Lawyers, and we are located at 348 14th Street Northwest, Calgary. We are a full-service law firm. That means we do everything other than criminal law. And other than criminal law, we do everything. We do family law, we do employment, we do real estate, we do foreclosures, we do personal injuries, we do wills and estate, we do business and corporation law.
And what do you find sets you apart from your competition?
I am young, I'm hungry, right? So you correctly stated, I brought up my partner last year after I articled with the firm as a student. And so I am ready to work 7 days a week. And I have a very young and diverse team of lawyers as well. So there are about 6 lawyers in the firm with 5 support staff. So we are young, we are hungry, we are ready to provide the best service we could for our clients.
So let's go back a little bit here. How did you first realize you wanted to become a lawyer?
Back in the day, back when I was in the university, I was thinking I was going to be an English teacher simply because I loved to read. Then I realized that maybe an English teacher, I may not be able to make a lot of money, right? So I quickly realized that I could utilize my zeal for reading and have that zeal transferred to a legal profession. So I decided to try my hands at law. And I realized that it came naturally to me, being a lawyer. And I did very well in law school. And so far, so good.
What did you study in Nigeria?
I studied in Imo State University. So Nigeria has a different process for qualification as a lawyer.
Okay.
You have to go through 5-year university program and then 1-year law school. So it took me about 6 years to be a lawyer in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I was called to the Nigerian bar in 2010. And I migrated to Canada a year afterwards.
So in Nigeria, is high school similar? Is the system similar?
Similar, yes. Just called a different name.
Okay.
It's called secondary school, but here it's called high school.
Okay. Yeah. And did you go straight from that into university?
Yes. So that is a little different as well from the process here. Here in Canada, you need to have a 4-year degree and then try your LSAT and get into law. But in Nigeria, you could go straight to law from high school, but it takes you a longer period of time to qualify as a lawyer. So it's going to take you at least 6 years to qualify as a lawyer in Nigeria. So the 5-year program is kind of meshed up with other programs as well. So it's more like double major in 5 years, right? Before you become a lawyer. Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Nigeria?
My story is a little different because I grew up living with one of my brothers. He's a reverend father, a Catholic priest. So as young as 7 years old, I had 2 choices. I was either reading or I was sleeping. So I didn't watch cartoons growing up. I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. So I lived a very disciplined life, not by choice as a 7-year-old, but because of the kind of person I was living with. As a Catholic priest, all he wanted me to be was focused. All right. So it was quite challenging as a child. I hated him, but I do bless him now. I do appreciate him for what he did for me. And I had a happy childhood, to be quite honest. I was born into an adult family, a family of 10. I'm the 7th child. When I was born, my immediate oldest sibling was already 11 years old. My oldest sibling was 24 years old. So I had a lot of big brothers and big sisters that were there to assist and help me out. So I was born into an adult, happy family. And I remember my childhood, in a very positive fashion.
So you moved to Canada in 2010, did you
11.
say? 2011?
Yes.
So what made you decide to move here?
Family. In 2011, my oldest brother was already here with his family. So he was gracious enough to apply for my immigration to Canada. His name is Joseph Osuji. He's a professor at Royal University. He sponsored my immigration to Canada, and when I came here, I also had other siblings as well. I had Agatha Osuji, I had Chidi Osuji, and they gave me a soft landing, so to speak. So the support group, the support that I received from them was quite helpful for me at the very early stage of my stay here in Canada. In 2012, I challenged the NCA exams. Now, this is the examination you write if you're a foreign trained lawyer, so that your degree is deemed equivalent to the degree one would obtain here in Canada. And after that, I started looking for articles. So articles is equivalent to internship. And I interned at the firm that I own right now. And I started with them in 2013. A year afterwards, I was called to the Alberta bar in 2014. And in 2016, I became a partner at the firm. And a few months later, I brought up my partner. So that's my story.
What keeps you working so hard? What's your motivation?
I want to be the better version of myself from yesterday. I want to beat my record from yesterday. So I set records and goals every day, and I want to make sure that I meet those goals. And I get this question a lot, whether as between passion and necessity, what drives me the most? And I tell people what drives me the most is necessity. Passion gets the fire started, and necessity drives the passion. When I took over the firm, I moved from being responsible for myself alone as an associate to having about 10 people look after me. I know that they rely on me. If business is not going well, they're going to be on the streets. The families will be on the streets. That motivates me. And secondly, I want to be the best lawyer I could be for my clients. These people come to us when they're in the very dark moments of their lives and they want some resolution to their problems. You want to give them a very good experience. So my clients, my staff, my personal goals, they motivate me and they push me.
So is that the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning? Is that what really just gets you going?
I don't even sleep. Yeah, kidding. My clients.
Yeah.
I'm in a profession where we provide help.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. We help people. And I am fortunate to be in a place where I could help people go through very, very dark moments of their lives. Mm-hmm. And I take what I do very seriously. Sometimes it's hard for me to sleep well at night because I'm thinking about a client's file. I'm looking at exploring options and alternatives to make the client spend the least and get out of the problem, easily and most efficiently. So they keep me up because they rely on me. I help people that have been fired from their employment after 25 years of service. I've helped people that are going through divorce after 40 years of marriage. I've helped people that are buying a business for the first time and they're spending their hard-earned savings into purchasing this business. These are real situations. they completely rely on my expertise and my knowledge to help them get through it. And what I find is people tend to rely on lawyers. If I tell my client to jump, they ask me how high do you want me to jump, right? Because they assume that I know what I'm doing. They assume that I'm looking after them. They assume that I know the best possible options to help them. So all of this keep me going. They keep me awake at night.
How do you not let all of these problems that you're thinking about all the time, these difficult situations, how do you not let them bring you too much stress or bring you down too much? What kind of things do you do to keep a guard up so that you're not just constantly being bombarded with that negativity and letting that become your problem?
Very good question. So I try to set the stage at the very first meeting with the client. I let them know that nothing is guaranteed. Okay? So I have to manage the expectation, let them know that even though I'm going to do my best for them, I am not going to guarantee any success. Because it takes two to tango. If a client is going through divorce, it takes the other party, the other spouse, to negotiate. It takes the other spouse to agree to terms. So I let the client know from get-go that I'm not going to guarantee any success, but I'm going to do the best I can. And there are boundaries as well. Don't email me over the weekend. Don't email me past 10 p.m. and expect a response. You could email me, but don't expect a response, right? And I have a team of very diligent and competent professionals in my firm that also help. So I'm not taking on these files all by myself. I have 4 or 5 associates that are willing to help me, manage my clients' files as well. So all of these parameters are in place to ensure I don't go crazy.
Have you had problems in the past with letting other people's problems stress you out too much or affect you too much?
Absolutely. It just happened.
Yeah.
I think it just gets better with time. I remember my first year or two of practice. If I was not successful in courts, I would have a very horrible week. I would have a very horrible weekend, right? Because I had erroneously believed that I was the messiah for the client, not knowing and not being cognizant of the fact that there's so many factors beyond my control. There's so much I can do for a client. So I've had situations where I allow my personal beliefs overcome my objectivity. I've also had situations where I allowed my relationship with a client or my impression of a client overcome my objectivity. But with time, when you see these files come and go, and you help people, you know what works and what doesn't work, you quickly realize that there's so much you can do for a client. And if it doesn't go well, so long as you did your best, then you should be okay.
Clients, I imagine, really appreciate that you care so much about them and that you are really focused on their outcome being the best possible. I imagine there's some incidences in your industry where that's not the case. I've definitely heard mixed things about different lawyers and people being disappointed, but
absolutely, it's just a matter of outlook. If you see your legal practice as just work, get the work done, go to work at 9 and go home at 5, then you're not going in with the right attitude. I look at it as I am here to help. I'm in the service industry, right? And these people completely rely on me. If I am giving them an uninformed opinion, they're going to rely on that opinion. And it's an expensive opinion, right? So I see myself as a service provider, and I go with my heart when I provide work and services to my client. And that makes a lot of difference.
For sure. Yeah.
The few times I could not help a client, the client could tell that it was beyond my control. And I've had a client returning another lawyer. She told me that, Charles, you're a great human being. I like you, but I think I want a second opinion. Right? I want a second opinion with respect to this matter. Not because your opinion is bad, but I just want to have that comfort of having another opinion. So it's all about the mindset and the attitude towards this. Do you see it as work or do you see it as helping people?
So you mentioned before when we talked that one of your struggles was when you moved here, you didn't have a network. So how did you deal with that, and how stressful was that at first?
It was very stressful and scary at the same time, because I was coming from Nigeria, where I had gone to secondary school, university, law school. I had developed some kind of professional network along the way, including family support. And I was more or less stripped of all of that when I landed here in 2011. I realized that, and I needed to build my network from ground up. Mm-hmm. So what I did was to first of all leverage my family's network, the immediate support group, mm-hmm. and then leveraged the Nigerian community. The Nigerian community is actually very robust, and there are a lot of successful Nigerians here in Calgary. From there, I joined a mentorship organization called CRIAC. CRIAC stands for Calgary Region Immigrant Employment Council. I connected with the executive director, Bruce Randall, and Bruce Randall introduced me to a lot of people. I always tell people to be more deliberate with mentorship. You know, you have a mentor, but you guys only meet once in 2 months. And you guys only talk over the phone once in a month. That does not make any sense. You need to be very deliberate. You need to be formal with it, and you need to be more serious. And you need to have it structured. That way you can get the best out of it. So through CRIAC and, networking generally, I was able to eventually build my network. And through someone in my network, I met with my partner, Jim Smith. Right. And that was my first interview, by the way, when I was looking for articles, my first and only interview. So I interviewed with him. And I remember a day before the interview, I had met with my mentor, and I was asking him to give me some clue as the kind of questions I'd be expecting, mm-hmm. And my mentor told me, look, Jim Smith is an older guy. He would be looking for a fit, just be yourself with him. And I was myself. I was offered articles the same day. And 2 years in, he realized that I was his succession plan. We got into conversation with respect to taking over the firm from him, and it's been great so far.
So do you have any advice for entrepreneurs in finding a mentor?
Yes. A few tips. Find someone in your industry, okay? Someone that you wish to be like in the next 5-10 years. And Calgary presents with so many options when it comes to mentors. There's so many people that have retired looking to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. And mentorship is the only way they can give back. Take advantage of that. There's so many mentorship organizations in Calgary. Take advantage of that. Find someone in your industry, and also network with people in your shoes. If you're videographer, network with people in that industry. If you're a lawyer, network with people in that industry. I find that the quality clients that I have as my clients are really clients from my immediate network, mm-hmm. from people that I went to law school with when I was writing the bar exams here, the people that I met my first year when I was articling. Through those people, I'm getting good quality work. And the good thing with referrals is the client tends to trust you mm-hmm. from get-go, because the client is being referred from someone that they trust, right? So mentorship is quite critical. And networking, targeted networking is quite critical for entrepreneurs.
So when you were first starting out, either before or after you started articling, and you were kind of scrambling to rebuild that network, what fears did you have at that time?
I was so scared. I thought I was not going to be a lawyer in Calgary or in Canada. The thing with immigrants is an average immigrant wants to ensure that the decision to leave their home country to immigrate to a different country is justified. Mm-hmm. When I left Nigeria, I would have easily stayed back and joined a big law firm or small firm or done something with my degree. Mm-hmm. But I left all of that behind. to come to a different country. And I've heard stories of people being medical practitioners back where they're coming from, or lawyers, and they come here and they lose track, or they're not fortunate enough to be able to qualify and continue in their chosen professions. So that possibility was at the back of my mind. I thought it was possible that would happen. But that kept me going. I needed to ensure that I was a lawyer here, because that was more or less a culmination of my training back in Nigeria. I knew that I could only be a lawyer here, and that was my way. That was my ticket to success. So
now, where you're at now, you're in essence practicing as a lawyer, and you're a business owner. How do you balance those two things, and what struggles come along with that?
As a business owner and as a practicing lawyer, you have to always strike the balance, a balance at all times. I've quickly realized, by the way, that I do more of the business side of things than the practice, right? It is almost 9 p.m. and I'm here talking about practice and all of that, right? You need to be able to strike that balance. And my staff and my team have been able to help me. I do a lot of marketing. I do a lot of volunteer work. Last week, Saturday, I just opened up a free legal clinic every month with one association down south, right? So I do a lot of marketing. I do a lot of volunteer work. I also do a lot of community outreach to get the name out there, right? To get the business and the recognition that we need at this stage of our career. So at the same time, you cannot lose sight of practice. Mm-hmm. You cannot, the quality of work for your clients cannot be sacrificed because they're trying to build a business. You still need to provide your clients with the best service.
Right. Yeah, that's important. So you're putting a lot of time into volunteering and networking and marketing. How do you determine the results and if you're using your energy and your resources properly?
We were recently rated one of the best employment lawyers in Calgary. That rating came in 2017, and we maintained that rating in 2018 as well. We've seen an offshoot in clientele. Our profits have doubled in the past 1 year, like tripled, if not. And we've seen a hike in client satisfaction as well. Clients are asking us to send them links so that they can leave Google reviews for the work we've done. So I think all of these are testaments to the kind of work that we're doing and the kind of services that we're providing to the community. And at the same time, we are registered with Legal Aid. We are registered with Lawyer Referral Service. These are agencies that afford low-income individuals access to free legal service. All of this have attributed and contributed to a more positive result in our legal services.
That's great. So have you had anybody be biased towards you because of your race and your heritage?
Good question. I find that really that is what some people fear, especially immigrants, if they have an opportunity to be entrepreneurs, or they have an opportunity to take over a business or buy a business or set up something for themselves. They worry so much about the color of their skin, about the sound of their voice, and all of that. But from my personal experience, I really think that what people want is someone that will help them, right? If you can provide good quality service to individuals, if you can help someone get through a situation, on the basic level, they wouldn't really care about the color of your skin. They wouldn't care about the sound of your voice, whether you have an accent, where you come from, and all of that, because they know that you can help them, right? I'm not belittling the reality that racism exists, but I'm just saying that that cannot be an excuse for an average immigrant. Mm-hmm. The fact that you look different from the majority does not mean that if you provide good work to people, you would not be successful in what you're doing.
Yeah. I have a few friends who've immigrated here, and it seems like, generally speaking, oftentimes the immigrants have a better work ethic than a lot of the people that are here.
And I spoke to that earlier on. Immigrants come here with a resolve to do better than they did back in where they're coming from. And they want to justify the decision to move from their comfort zone to a strange land. So that drive is unsurmountable. The drive to make sense of the transition from their home country to a strange land, the drive to justify that decision, the drive to make the ends meet. And their tolerance level is very high as well, right? So they come with great qualities. They come with great resolve and ambition.
Mm-hmm. Do you sometimes see the other side of things where you have immigrants that come that try and bring some of their problems with them?
I mean, that is the human tendency to take your problems along wherever you're going, right? Mm-hmm. But Canada presents a very healthy culture and a very healthy ecosystem that tends to prevent all of those tendencies from fostering, right? I remember when I came here in 2011, I couldn't drive for 1 year. So there's a system in place to slow you down, right? So that you don't, jump behind the wheels and crash and burn. So Calgary or Canada as a whole has, developed certain structures and systems in place to check all of those tendencies from people coming from different parts of the world with different tendencies as well.
Mm-hmm. What do you have for advice for entrepreneurs who have fears and who are struggling and maybe doubting themselves?
The fear may not be real. And how do you know that the fear may not be real? By taking a plunge. Sometimes that's really what it takes to understand that the fear is not real in the first place. And most importantly, you need to have very good people in your life. I was fortunate to have my big brother, Joseph Osuji, to have my partner, Mr. Smith, to have my mentor, Bruce Randall, before I took over. Between the two of us, I didn't want to take over the practice. I didn't want to take over the building. I didn't want to be responsible for almost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in overhead every month. I didn't want to do all of that. I wanted to snuck up in my comfort zone and look after myself and not be responsible for anyone. Mm-hmm. But these are the people that say, Charles, you can do it. You're a rock star. You're born for this. You have your work ethic. You have all the zeal and ambition and drive to take this plunge. So sometimes you need to surround yourself with people that will push you, people that see what you cannot see in yourself for you to overcome that fear, which is really that stumbling block between where you are and where you should be.
Yeah. I'm a very firm believer that you're the average of the 5 people you associate with most. Have you had to kind of distance yourself from certain people that were bringing you in the other direction?
I mean, it happened naturally. When you're working 7 days a week and grinding it and pushing it, some people naturally fall out from your radar, right? So it wasn't a conscious decision to let some people go. It just happened because they couldn't take the heat. They were not bringing anything to the table. So they eventually fell off along the way.
How do you, when working that much, make time for the people that you do want to be around and spend time with?
Is a goal. Is something I'm looking forward to. I do spend time with family and friends, but I could spend more time with them. And however, I see this stage of my career as the moment or the period that I need to invest in laying a solid foundation, right? It's not going to be this crazy forever. I think is a goal that one day I could afford to do 5 days a week and have people work for me, have money work for me, have people that are even better lawyer than I am, provide services to my clients. So it is a work in progress. An entrepreneur must be conscious of the sacrifice that they must make at the very beginning of their entrepreneurship. And I find that part of the sacrifices that I must make at this stage of my career is downtime and certain leisures that ordinarily an average person would want to have. I've sacrificed all of that, but I know that is for the moment, right? It's not going to be forever. Maybe for another year or two, it just gets better from there.
Mm-hmm. For entrepreneurs starting out, or maybe people who are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs, how important is work ethic?
It's critical. It's critical. As an entrepreneur, you determine your time. And that is a blessing and a curse at the same time. It is a blessing in the sense that you have the flexibility that you need. You can decide to take off from work at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, or not even go to work at all. And it's a curse that if you do not have the discipline to manage your time, then you're going to face the consequences. So work ethic, very good work ethic is not a choice. It's a must-have for an entrepreneur, especially at the early stages of their career.
Awesome. So to kind of wrap up here, where do you want to see your firm and your personal life in 10 years from now?
My firm, I think the future is too bright. I can't even see it. Yeah, it is. In the last 1 year, we've tripled our earnings, and I'm de-emphasizing the profit. I'm looking more at the client experience. The client experience is way better. People tend to refer us out to their friends, especially past clients. Personal life, I'll be married with kids, and I'll have more time for myself and my family. By then, in 3-4 years' time, I'm looking at having another 1 or 2 locations in Calgary, and I'm looking at setting up a platform or a group of lawyers, competent lawyers, that wouldn't really need me to be hands-on. I could manage them from a distance, and I'll be on the business side of things for the most part, instead of the practice side of things.
You have some very ambitious goals there.
Yes.
And I'm sure you'll hit them.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Where can people go to learn more about you?
You can visit our website, www.osugismith.ca, or you can call us 403-283-8018.
Are you active on social media at all?
Very.
Yeah?
Yes.
Where's the best place for people to find you on there?
LinkedIn.
Okay.
I have a very vibrant page on LinkedIn, and I'm also on Facebook as well. Likewise, my firm.
Awesome.
And generally on Google, if you type Osuji and Smith Lawyers, or maybe type the best lawyers in Calgary, and you'll probably see my firm. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this and taking a really long day.
Yeah.
So great.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our first sponsor is Symbol Syndication, which is a video production company that I started. We do video production and online marketing for businesses of all sizes, ranging from solopreneurs to Fortune 500 companies. Our second sponsor is Gravity Cafe. They've been gracious enough to give us their space. The coffee's awesome. They have live music 3 nights a week. The beer's great. It's an awesome place to come hang out. Another sponsor of the Ambition Project is BusinessLink. BusinessLink is Alberta's entrepreneurial hub. They are a nonprofit organization that helps people navigate the steps towards starting their own businesses. Just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you're in business by yourself. BusinessLink's team of in-house startup experts are there to support you all along the way. Our next sponsor is the Better Business Bureau. Your BBB helps businesses build visibility, credibility, savings, leads, and community through BBB accreditation while funding free marketplace services with more than 1 million instances of service to consumers every year. Visit bbb.org/Calgary to learn more today.